Hello everyone, it's Marie from Skeletorama again. Welcome back to my channel. We are on the second part of the trim, which is going to be all of this good stuff down here. So we are going to do our arched rails and balcony trim. I'll show you how to make sure that these fit correctly, what to do if they don't, because spoiler alert, they didn't. But it wasn't by much. So we're going to do all that good stuff. So hope you enjoy. Okay, so now we are going to continue on with some more trim. We've got a couple of things that we're going to do on this one. We have the different raised panels that we're going to put on the windows. We have the window ledge set. We've got those little purple pieces that we cut earlier. They're going to go on there. The big one is the balcony rail and the arch rail. So I tested the balcony rail, which is here. It fits just fine, so I don't have to do anything to that. Unfortunately, the more fancy, delicate one is a little bit long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first one, because it's going to go all the way across and fit kind of snug from side to side. And then we cut that balcony rail stuff to go, next to it. So I don't want to take too much off. So I'm probably going to take off. See how they're this one's a little farther over to the right than this one. I'll probably just go ahead and take off from one side, because it reduces the chances of my destroying it. And I think I only need to take just a sliver. So I'll take a little sliver off here, probably with the easy cutter on this piece, and then the saw on that one. And then I'll test it out. And once I get a nice snug fit, then I can use it to measure its friend over here. I also got some stuff from Real Good Toys today, which was fantastic, because I needed these. So this is the banister and landing set, and I needed 2 of them. So because I stole the 2 for the Mad Scientist mansion that I had purchased for this house, so I've finally replaced them. But I also found the shutters for the addition, so we'll do that eventually. And these were on sale. So these are like gingerbread trim that you put here, and I already tested and they look really cute there. So we'll take a couple of these when we're adding all of our trim. We're going to add these too. So I held them up. I think these would look best in black. So we'll paint 2 of those with the black, and then those will come out there when we put the rest of this trim on as well. And then the one thing that I did forget was doorknobs for the front doors. So I got these ones. They're kind of like, see, they've got like a little lever door handle. They're different from the interior doors. They're really cute. And they come with these little teeny keys, which I love. But, okay, so we've got those parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these and let these start drying. I'm not going to do it on camera. Y'all have seen me paint plenty of stuff. And then I'm going to take this out there. I'm going to measure it again just to kind of see, okay, how much. I don't think I need very much at all off of this, but I'll see how much I need to take off, and then we're going to start removing from here. I'm going to use my X-Acto saw. So it fits in one of these regular handles. So I just take the knife out, I put this in, tighten it up, and then straighten it up. I don't know that this would go in the miter box very well, but I don't know. We'll see. We can maybe cut this one with the easy cutter and then put this. No, it's not going to fit in the miter box because that's way too long. So we'll cut this as straight as we can. We'll see how that goes. Probably break it. All right. So I'll be back to you in just a few minutes. All right. So sanity did prevail at a certain point. I was planning on cutting this, but whenever I do that, I always end up cutting off too much. You can take it off all day, but you can't put it back on, right? So I thought, okay, I'll take those 2 pieces of scrap wood, and I will go out there and I will put them in there to the correct length that they're supposed to be to fit in there, and that should, give me a good measurement, right? Well, when I brought this back in, guess what? It's the same as this. I thought, okay, if I take off 1/8 of an inch or so of material, what's going to happen is, these are supposed to be snug up against those walls. They will no longer be snug up against those walls. So what I did instead is I sanded them. So I haven't sanded this one yet, but what I did was I took this one and I went out there and I fitted in. And the problem that I was having is it's supposed to come right up under this and fit up snug and flat. And it was sitting kind of catty corner because this was interacting with, the way the shingles come down like so, right? So it was kind of interacting and it wouldn't come over. So I didn't have to sand a ton off of it. So I took a little bit off of one side just to kind of even these out because this didn't look even to me. And I kept going, and I went out and measured it and did it again, went out and measured it until I got it right. So we're gonna put this one on here because this one is right. Here's the two trim pieces that I just painted as well. But yeah, if I hold it next to this, you can see it's just the tiniest bit. Let me see if I can bring it up where you can see it. Okay, see that? That's how much difference it is. So that's more suited to sanding than to cutting, because there's no way I would have been able to cut that little off, right? Or, you know, not having broken it or something. So what I did was I have my sandpaper here, and I held this. I'm going to do it on this side here because I did notice, see how that sticks out a little bit too much. So I need to sand that part down anyway. So I just held it like this, nice and firm, held it straight up and down, and I just kind of went around in a circle. Sorry about the noise. Just like so, and I just took the littlest bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out there real quick. I'm going to measure it. I'm going to keep going until this one fits nice and snug like that one does now too. So I'll join you guys back probably out there because we're done, I think, in here with any of the stuff we need, and it's time to glue some more stuff on out there. So see you guys out there. All right, we are out here with the house. I'm going to try to stay on this side so I can stay out of what light I've got here. So what we're going to do is we are going to put this piece up here, okay? And so as I was saying, you got to kind of wiggle it, but see, now it fits nice and straight up under here, as straight as it'll go. But I mean, I don't even have to do anything, and it's going to kind of stay there, which is good. So we're going to put this piece in, but now if you look at the railing, it's got all kinds of play in here. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because we have these trim pieces that are going to go in here. So once you put these trim pieces in, then this is going to fit snugly along those. It may be that once we get these in here and glued down and everything, that we'll have to sand this piece like we did these, but hopefully not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at this, and let's see if we get down here. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of wiggle it and make sure I get it nice and straight. Actually, this one I sized for the bottom now that I think about it. This is the one I did for the top. Okay, because they may be slightly different. Okay, see how this goes in here nice and straight and snug. It does have that dip, but I can't do anything about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on, I think, this part, and these two sides, and then I'll get them snugly up in here again. Take some wiggling. They're going to go directly under this cornice piece here. You've got where the bay walls kind of go over, and there's that little gap. It's going to go behind those in there. Okay, it's behind this roof, and it's going to go right here. And so I'll get those in there, and I'll kind of see what I can do about taping. I'll do maybe some small strips of tape so they go between these, and put this one in. There is that one there. And again, I didn't bother to put any glue because this is warped here, and I don't think that I could get the tape to hold it up well enough. And it's fine because it's going to be consistent with the bottom one as well. It looks okay. It looks kind of like maybe you meant to do it in an arch. Who cares? Okay, so same with this piece. Okay, this piece has been designed to be put right back here. So it's going to sit right under this porch cornice like this, or you can see this. We could even get this one up a little higher and maybe glue it to the back of that cornice. Now that I think about it, that might work. So, because this has a bit of a lip extending under, so I'll go ahead and put a little bit on here so that I can get this maybe, just so I can touch it at the top, so it's just an extra level of secure. I'm going to do the same thing with this. Hopefully I won't have my head in the way for this one because I'll need to see. So there we go with that. All right, so our next bit we're going to do is, besides get the glue that I didn't see from down there, is we are going to get the side piece for here. So that side piece is going to come up, I believe it's from the level of this, and it's going to go kind of right behind it. So right behind this wall here. So I will have to go get a pencil, I think. All right, so we have our trim piece here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sit it down here, kind of hold it to the side of this, because really that's all I can do. And it's going to go to about there. I'm going to kind of start here, okay? I intentionally did it a little bit higher than I expect it to be so that I can then wiggle it in and see what I need, because there's really no way to get this piece in here, okay? All right, so I have my easy cutter here, my pencil line, put this flat, do a couple pulses, oh, not even that, go right through it. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this in here, hold it up to the top. It's gonna need to go under this. I don't know how well you can see that, but maybe if I do it, here, I'll come down here and I'll do it on this side. I think you can see this side better. Okay, so it's gonna come up under this, and it's going to go along this wall. It's going to be flat. So I can tell I need to take just a little bit off. I'm going to hold this on the outside real quick and see about how much. Oh, not much. Okay. I'll hold this here and see if this comes in flat under here. Almost. I think what's stopping it is this lower piece here. So maybe we'll go to the lower piece because we definitely want it to be straight. So I'm gonna hold this here next to this. I'm gonna lose my pencil because I just always do. Okay, so we're gonna want it to go under this second one down here. So I got a pencil mark there. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Bring it up and under here, and see now this goes flat flush against this wall. Okay, so now I know that will fit for the other side, so I can use it to mark its little friend. This is kind of coming forward where it shouldn't. So scoot this back. I have it just a little tight. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to see, not that piece, let's see how this piece measures up here. So yeah, it'll have to be cut very differently for this one by about, I don't know if you can see when it's straight up there. So this will have to come down a little bit. So what I'll do though is I'm going to go ahead and cut 4 pieces this length, because these are much easier to try to get in and measure than the full piece. So do that. So I'm just going to take my easy cutter, I'm going to put these together, and then I'm going to sit this in here. I'm going to put the blade to the end of this one, and there we go, to the exact same size. Okay, hopefully you can see this. In theory you can. Okay, so I've got these here like this. I've got them lined up straight. I take my easy cutter. I'm going to cut at least one of these. Whee! Okay, and I'll use this one to measure this bottom floor down here. Get these little pieces out of here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do with this one is we are going to put glue on the back side of it. We're going to put it in here, line it up against this wall, and get this tape down. We're going to try to keep the tape like up this direction here because we also want to put the railing in on this top one. So we'll kind of need the tape to not be here, because once we get the railing in, it should fit nice and snug against these. So it'll help hold this to the wall, right? So get the glue out. So there's those. Now let me get the railing for that. And here's our railing here. So now we need to make sure that this is going to fit nice and snug between these. Okay, and it is just the tiniest bit not. So let's see if I can wrestle this into place here. There we go. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to go do the same thing that I did with the previous one. I'm just going to sand just the tiniest bit off of this. Actually, I'm going to bring my sandpaper out here and do it. Okay, so I have sanded just enough off here. So now this is going to sit just above, you know, the porch right here. So I've got just enough where I can sit it in here. Oh, there we go. And it sits in here nice and tight. And I can get this down where I want it and nice and straight. Ta-da! Okay, so it's going to hold these at the bottom. I don't need to worry about taping those. So I'm just going to put glue on the ends of each of these and wiggle it back in place. A lot of the glue is going to scrape off. That's fine. We know that's going to happen. As long as enough stays so that it holds it, that's all we need, right? Okay. Put our glue on here. And then let's get this down where it's supposed to be. There we go. Hopefully I'm not too much in the way. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that it's centered at the bottom and at the top on these porch pieces. I'm gonna wipe any extra glue off that I have. And these are holding in nice and tight, so I'm just gonna leave them alone. I'm afraid if I put tape on them, I may end up pulling them one way or another, and I don't want to do that. So wipe off my extra glue. This stuff just gets everywhere. Okay, got most of it. All right, and so now what we'll do is we will work on this bottom one here on the sides. Luckily this bottom part doesn't have a porch, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so just as we did on the last one, we're going to take the shorter of the two. I didn't bother cutting this one yet because I figured I'd get this one to the right length and then I'll cut this one. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to hold this next to here because it's going to be at the same level. I'm going to make my little mark so that it comes up under this bottom piece. I'm going to take my easy cutter, put it in here. I'm going to go just to the right side of that pencil mark because I made the pencil mark a little low. And then we'll sit it back here, and voila, fits perfectly. So I'm going to erase my pencil mark. Oopsie, like so. Here we are. I'll take this, I'm going to hold it up next to this one here. I'm going to line my easy cutter up with the blade right butting up against that other one. And I cut this one. Okay, so now they both fit. And we're going to do the same thing, except this one we're going to tape it in two spots. So I got my glue. Get it all over the back of this. On this one I am going to put a little bit at the bottom just because where it contacts the porch. We want a fair amount of glue because again you've got the siding that it's going against, so this way it can seep into the little angled pieces and hold really nicely. All right. So I'll put this here, just like so. Bring this over, line it up, nice and straight. Make sure it's up under that. And this one's just slightly large here. I'll be wiping the glue off my Easy Cutter. There we go. Just need to take the tiniest sliver off of that. There we go, now it fits. Okay, put that in there straight, and I'm going to tape it. Make sure I didn't make any other mistakes with this one. And I didn't, it was just that one. Okay. Alright, so that is our porch trim done. And I will move the camera and we will work on some of the other trim that's up in the rest of the house. While all that stuff dries, we can get on to the next part of it, which is going to be the decorative pieces that go on here and on here. And then we've got the trim that goes above here, okay? So one thing to note though, is if you look up here, remember how this was really uneven, right? So here's how I fixed that. It's actually my husband's idea, pretty brilliant. So this is a little pack of tools. These are called spudgers. We got them on Amazon and they're plastic, they're like a hard plastic. What they're designed to do is they've got like a little lip here. It's for getting into, say, your iPhone or your laptop or whatever, and getting it open, you know, like how you have to separate the case without destroying it, basically. And so what he did was he took it along here and put it in and just kind of gently pried it on either side until he was able to get it off. It didn't even take the paint off. It was great. So that was a very helpful tool. So the first pieces I'm going to put on are going to be the decorative trim that goes along here. So you have two short ones here. Voila. You have a long one. The long one goes in the center. I did fit these against it, and when they're up against here, like when this one fits here, this side you are going to be able to see from the back. So I went ahead and painted this side black, and then the side that's going to show here. Not like you can necessarily get in there, but just in case somebody does, it won't stick out too bad, right? So what we're going to do, it does tell you to have these, you know, this laying on its back for this. I'm not laying it on its back anymore. I just don't like doing that, for one. It makes me nervous because the roof in the back hangs off. So if I'm laying it flat on its back, it's actually putting pressure against it this way, and that's, yeah, I don't want to do that. So anyways, we're going to do it this way. So what we're going to do is this one's going to go on first. Okay, and you have your curved molding. So your curve here is at the top, and then your flat little ledge thing is at the bottom. And it's going to get centered on here. It's going to rest right on top of this window here. And it's nice because you've got the little siding boards. It fits just under one of these. Okay, and it's going to line up and be centered with this. And then we will add this piece onto here and this piece onto here. Okay, so this one will get glue on the back. I'll center it, I'll tape it, and then these will get glue on the back and then the unpainted edge where it's going to be enclosed. And I already have my tape ready because I ran out of my skinny tape, so I only have the big tape. So I've got one, it'll fit nicely for this one, and then for the rest of them I took that piece and I tore it in half down the center. So all right, get started with that. that should do that. I did make sure that these corners met really nicely. I will look once it's dry to make sure they did. If they didn't, I may want to hit it with a little bit of paint. Just to make sure I don't have any of the raw wood showing in that joint, and it'll help disguise it if I was misaligned a tiny bit. All right, so the next panels we're going to do are these ones here. So they have kind of like, they're flat, but they're raised. They're this size. So you have these big wide ones. They're going to go on this top one because of course we have more space here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on the back. We're going to center this. We're going to tape these, you know, centered in this spot here and line it up using that as well. And it'll fit. You can kind of see where this piece is in the center. It'll fit right along the edges of that, so it should help you line it up. Okay, so I'm going to get tape ready for that. And I have the two shorter pieces. They're going to do the same thing on this side and on the other side. That bit of trim, and what I did was I tried to make sure that it's at the same, you know, level as the center one, because we want them all to be in a row. So I think they are, fairly sure they are. All right, so let's go to the next piece. All right, so the next piece are going to be our 1-inch pieces, and we have 3 of them. So there are these ones here, and they're going to go centered right in here. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to do the same sort of a thing. I'm going to put glue on the back of them. I'm going to get the tape, and I'm going to line it up as best I can and make sure that they're aligned with each other as well. Which is why they have you lay it on its back, because you can just place it and walk away. I don't like doing that. On these, I'm not going to use a ton of glue because A, it doesn't need it, and B, what will happen is it gets real slippery on there, so you'll have a hard time keeping it in place. So just a nice thin layer of glue is all you need for it, about like that. Okay, and see it's holding it pretty good right there for now, so I'm going to leave that one there. And I will put the other 2 on, and then we'll get them taped down once they're all in line. So what I'll do is I'm going to actually give those a second to grab, and then I'll put the tape on. I don't think they really need the tape, but I may put it on there just in case, because my luck, they'll go sliding down when I'm not looking. Okay, so I'm going to move the camera so we can do the next pieces of it. Well, actually, let's see. Yeah, no, I'm going to have to move the camera. So, see you guys in a second. Okay, so now we are going to do the ones for this. So these were the ones that we did that were 3/4 of an inch. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. They're going to sit in here in the center. So I'll do that real quick. I'm just not going to put the tape on it, because what's happening is as soon as I place the tape, it's getting these kind of cat corner, so we don't want that. Okay, so now we are going to use these little bits. So these are the ones that I just got from Real Good Toys site. They were a really good price, and you get 6 of them in a package. And so it's going to go up here, up in this corner, right? So I'm going to put glue on back side of it, and I've got another one that's going to go up in this corner here so that they match. I'm going to put glue on the back side of this, just a light layer of it, and get this stuck down too. Those decorative pieces. So we just have one more set to go, which is going to be the windows that are down here. So I'll move the camera so you can see that. All right, so we're going to do these the same way we did the ones up at the top. Now you've got the longer one here. It's going to get centered here. And you have two short ones that are going to get centered on the side here. So I will go ahead and do those. And again, I'm just going to put a very thin layer of glue, because otherwise it's just going to come squishing out and it's going to squirm all over the place. And I will take my tape and secure each one with a piece of tape. Once I get it glued on, I'll do that on fast forward. So I'm just going to do this one, and then of course the other one I'll do off camera. There's no point in doing both of them. So there are those three. So I will do the other three off camera, and then I will come back to you guys. All right, so hopefully I can stay out of the light, not create a bunch of shadows when I do this, but I have this turned around to the side because now we're going to do the trim on the side of the house. So if you remember, we had our two pieces that we did in black. So one piece is going to go back here, and one is going to go right here, right along this edge. So we're going to have to move some of the tape for this, but I'm going to go ahead and attach those pieces. I have my painter's tape handy. I should probably get some pieces of it handy, shouldn't I? So what I'm going to do is, this has had enough time to set up, I think we can just stitch this entire piece of tape here. And then this one is still holding on these ones that I just did. So I'm just going to kind of tear it down so it's not in the way of our piece that we're putting on. So this trim is going to go right here. It's going to go all the way up to the top, and it's cut to just the perfect length where it'll span from the very top of the wall all the way to the bottom. I'm going to put glue on the back of this. We're going to tape it at the top and the bottom and middle. So I'll do that right now. And this one, since it's going along the side of the house where we've got, you know, the siding on there and it's uneven, it's okay if you, well, it's okay if you put your hair in the glue. It's okay if you have a decent amount of glue on there, so that it can get into those sides, but catch it before it drips onto your carpet, which I failed at that just now. All right, there we go. So I got a decent amount of glue, a ton of it on my hand because it wouldn't be this if I didn't. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off of the sides here just to spare myself trouble. All right, so now this is going to go right up here. Hopefully I'm not in the way. Right along the side and down to the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to press this in, and I'm going to wipe along the sides and get any of that extra glue from my lack of judgment of how much glue to put on things. Now we're going to use the inside of the window as an anchor. I'm going to kind of come around and we're going to press this in real good. Do the same towards the bottom. You know, make sure this is sitting right nice and tight up against this bay window wall when you're doing this. And then we're going to do this in the middle as well. And then I do like to put a little piece at the top and the bottom, just to make sure they're holding on there nice and tight. Okay, that side, and so I'm going to do the same for this back side. I'm going to line it up right directly with the back of the house, and then I'll do the same on the other side, and I will meet you back at the desk because we're going to get our shingles ready because that's the next step. Okay, so that's it for episode 15. So we've got all of our exterior trim and stuff done, so that can only mean one thing. Time to do some shingles. So that's what we'll be doing on our next episode. So hope to see you then. Bye.